step. We're going to start in our fraction operations. We're going to start with the easiest fraction operation, which is multiplying fractions. Quite honestly, we are expecting this to be reviewed for you guys. So we're going to go relatively quickly, but one thing we are going to do is we're going to go a little more in depth on exactly why we get the answers we do. Trying to help you visualize what's happening so that you understand the answers to give you more confidence in the answers that you are getting, okay? So that's why you have the two colored pencils for today. On our first problem, we have Mrs. Martin, and the timing is good. She baked some brownies for the Thanksgiving party she attended. The guests were so stuffed with turkey they barely ate any of the pan of brownies. She had 2/3 of a pan left. Mr. Martin found the brownies after dinner. He loves brownies, so he ate 5/6 of the brownies that were left. What part of the whole pan of brownies did Mr. Martin eat? That is our question. So to set up our question, we're going to work through this problem step by step. Now, first off, we ended up with she had 2/3 of a pan left. So we're going to divide our pan of brownies into 2/3. Okay? So you can use a pencil to do that. Now you're going to use your first colored pencil, and you're going to now color in 2 of those thirds. So personally, I'm going to start on this side and do these first 2, and then you're going to leave that third one blank because we're only shading in the part of the brownie that was left after the Thanksgiving party. Yes, ma'am?
Is this the one where I drew the picture last year and told you yours made no sense?
Yes. And then you did the exact same picture? It was actually, no, you guys have no idea. Last year was Miss McShann's first year here, and we were talking about this lesson, and I was showing her how to do it, and she's like, that makes no sense. She's like, let me show you how we taught it, and she literally drew the exact same picture. It was hilarious. We actually went around and showed it to some of the other teachers. It was so funny. Because, well, I shouldn't say we. I should say I went around and showed it to several other teachers, and they were all like, no, that's the same picture. I'm like, thank you. But in Miss McShann's mind, it did make more sense the other way. I totally forgot about that. I'm glad we got that one on tape. That's a great story. Okay, now guys, I realize you're probably not going to be able to draw as quickly or as well as I do, but that's okay. One. Guys, one key on this. We do need to go a little bit quicker. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the next part. If you haven't finished your drawing, just keep drawing. Okay? On our next part, here's where we're going to change it up a little bit. Now I'm going to draw my lines the other way, because now that Mr. Brown came in, he's eating 5/6 of what is left. So now we need to divide our pan the other way into 6. So you make 5 lines across, which actually gives you 6 compartments. And now you're going to draw in with your second color. You're going to color 5 of those 6. Okay? So going the other way, you're going to color in 5 of the 6 to show what he ate out of what was left. This is why I'm doing it along with you, so you guys have a vision of what you should be doing. Again, don't worry, I understand. Yours probably won't be as pretty as mine.
I know you're not talking. Stop teasing us. Stop teasing us.
It's not teasing, I'm just stating facts, guys. I mean, look how pretty that is. Thank you, Cannon.
Because you have a smart board.
Okay, now that we've got our two colors drawn, let's take a look. The first thing we need to look at is the number of boxes that are double shaded. So how many were part of the 2/3 and part of the 5/6? So if we count, we can see there are one. Oops, I got to switch back to my pencil. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 that were double shaded. Out of a total, so how many total boxes did we now divide our 1 into? 18, because it's 3 by 6. Can I simplify that? Yes, I wrote those by 2, not 10. So that gives me 5/9. Does everybody see that we ended up with 5/9 of the total plan of brownies that were eaten? Okay? Now, mathematically, what did we just do? No. What we did, we took 5/6 of 2/3. Now, Miss McShann was nice. She's actually already added a note on her board back here. If you guys see it, it says the word of means to multiply. So when I see 5/6 of 2/3, what I'm saying is multiply 5/6 by 2/3. So I now multiply. Multiplying is the easiest fraction operation, guys. Literally, all you got to do is multiply. 5 times 2 is 10. 6 times 3 is 10 and 18. I can simplify that by 2, which gives me exactly what we expected from our model, right? Does that make sense? So, when multiplying fractions, what did we do? All we had to do was multiply numerator times numerator. Then, denominator times denominator. And then my favorite step, we always then simplify.
Yes, we all know that, Mr. Moore.
Good. Now do it on your test, Sean. Oh! Now, any questions on the straight up multiplying if I just have two fractions? This should be the easiest one. Sylvia? Why do you overlap it? To show which part both numbers have. So you understand where that 10 came from. That 10 came from the part that was involved with both fractions. Make sense? Good question. Any other questions?
No, Mr. Moore.
Okay, let's turn the page. Now, this one's going to get a little more complex and difficult, so we're going to walk through it step by step again. Mr. Johnson owns 4 acres of land that he uses to farm vegetables. 3/5 of his land is pumpkins. What part of Mr. Johnson's land is pumpkins? So now we're talking about the whole part. Now, how do I model 4? I model 4 by 4 whole blocks, right? So to represent the 4, we're going to go ahead and once again use our colors. We're going to use one color, and we're going to color in all 4 of the blocks. Okay?
Can I just do this?
You can be that messy if you want, or you can be a little more perfect like me if you would prefer. Again, you guys probably won't be as perfect as me, but you can at least try.
That is very true.
But don't put in so much effort that it takes you forever. Okay? This isn't art with Miss Cole. We don't have to be as great as she is because she is an excellent artist. She puts me to shame, no doubt. She should. She's an art teacher. She's a professional. Nah. See, here's the difference, guys. This is basically just coloring. Coloring I can do well. I've been practicing on this since I was like 3 years old.
I think we all have a smart board.
Actually, the smart board in a lot of ways makes it a little more difficult because it's hard to get into the corners. Plus, you don't actually see what you're drawing until after it appears. So you have to be a little more cautious when you're drawing on the smart board to really get inside the lines. But as you can see, I'm doing quite well at it because I'm just that talented. No, you have to do all four because he has 4 acres, guys. He has 4 acres, so we're coloring in all 4 of them. Okay, now the second part of this was he's planting 3/5 of his land in pumpkins. So for our second part, now that we have our 4 acres colored, we now need to divide the acres into fifths. So for ease of use, I'm just going straight across and then erasing the part in between because Miss McJan's a little OCD like that. It would bother her if there were lines in between that weren't being used.
Then I'm gonna fine. So I gotta make sure it's a perfect place. It better be perfect.
It'll be close to perfect by the time I'm done.
Oh no, I left the lines.
Just because that's the way I roll.
Yes, you're Mr. Perfect.
Okay. Oh, if you guys could only see the looks Miss McShan's giving me. All right, our second part. Now we are coloring in 3/5. So you're going to pick, I would recommend the top 3. You're doing the top 3 for every section because it's 3/5 of his total land. So coloring in 3/5 for all of the rest. Again, perfection isn't nearly as important as getting just shaded in so you can tell which parts have the 2 colors. Of course I'm the one to say that because mine is almost perfect. It is. As you can hear in the background, we have a lot of people that are breaking pencils today. I don't know what's going on. Honestly, I probably would have left the lines as well, Cannon, but I do know it bothers Miss McShan. Every once in a while, I try to be nice and not bother her.
Like the corners you weren't filling in right?
It's really hard to fill in those corners with a huge red round marker. So once again, let's talk about how many we now have that are double colored. So if I count the number of double colored boxes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now here's where this can get a little confusing if you're not careful. How much did we cut every box into? 5. So there's 5 of in every box. So 5 box makes a whole, correct? Okay? And I have 12 of those blocks. So how many times will 5 go into 12? 2 with how much left over? Which makes sense. Oh no, Madison, really? Madison divided it into 4s. Yes, you have to divide it to fifths like he did. Okay, guys, listen up. Listen, please. Let's just take a quick look at this. How did I get 2 2/5? Well, instead of going across, if I'd have put these 2 down here, that would be a whole one, right? Okay? Oh, actually, I should have gone the other way. Now I've got 1 here, so I need 3, 4 would color in this whole one, right? Which leaves me 2 left over. Okay? So we ended up with 2 wholes and 2/5 left over. So let's see mathematically how that works out. Once again, what we're doing 3/5 of 4, right? But we just learned on the first one, I have to multiply numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, right? Do I have a denominator on a 4? No. But could I put a denominator on a 4? For a whole number, all I have to do is put it over 1. So now I have 2 numerators, 2 denominators. Guess what I do? Just multiply. 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 1 is 5. We always simplify. How many times will 5 go into 12? 2 whole with 2 left over. Just like we saw from our model.
And I also know why I got 2 into 6.
Do what?
Because 5 times 2 is 10 with 2 left over.
Correct.
You got the 5 as the denominator.
Exactly. So does this make sense now? Not us. Okay, so our next rule on multiplying. When I multiply fractions and whole numbers, what was the first thing we had to do? No. No. How? Good. Madison got it. So the whole number, we need to put a 1 under the whole number. Then we multiply top times top. Bottom times bottom. And then my favorite part, simplify it. Okay, so we've already got 2 of our 3 that we're going to cover today figured out. Fractions are easy. You multiply top, top, bottom, bottom. If I have a whole number, I turn it into a fraction by putting it over 1. Then I multiply top, top, bottom, bottom. Then we have our last one. This is where we're going to get a mixed number and a fraction. So Miss Smith has 3 3/4 bags of chips left in the pantry. Her dog found them and ate half of the chips. What fraction of all the chips did her dog eat? Now this time we don't have all whole numbers, do we? Because we have 3 3/4 bags. So now for our wholes, we still are going to divide them into fourths. And guys, I highly recommend you do them all top to bottom. It's going to make it easier when we do our second part. And out of all of these, the dog ate how much? Or no, how many were in the pantry? We're not to the dog yet. 3 3/4. So I'm going to color in 3 whole blocks and then 3/4 of the final one. See, Miss McShannon, it's very difficult with a rounded tip to get into those corners. But I still get pretty darn close to perfection. Well, yeah, she had you. Oh, you know I'm joking. No, Sean's a good student. Yeah, Miss McShannon just confirmed it. Okay, guys, we're doing 3 wholes. And then on that last block, make sure you only color in 3 of the 4. If you color in all 4 of them, like several of my students did in previous periods, it's going to kind of mess up your double colored. Okay, so we have our 3 and 3/4 of the last one. So make sure you've got all those colored in. Okay, our next part on this one was the dog actually ended up eating half of them. That's why I told you to make the lines this way, because it's going to make it easier to do the half. So my half, I'm just going to go straight across and do half of all of the different bags. Now you pick the top or the bottom, that part doesn't matter as much. But now for our last piece, we're just going to color in half of either the top line or the bottom line, your choice. But you're going to color in half of all of the blocks. Because he didn't eat just half of one of the bags. He ate half of all of the bags. That dog was probably sick as a dog. Now you'll notice when you're doing the top one, guys. Hey guys, please listen. On this last one, when you color in your half, you should have one section at the end that only has the color you're currently using. Make sure that you should look something like that. Okay, I'll be honest on this one, guys. We intended this just to help you visualize what's happening, but on the next couple tests, I actually had some students that understood this method better and actually did this on their test and ended up getting the right answer because they were able to visually see exactly what was happening. So now let's talk about it again. How many blocks do we now have that have double color? So double color, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. What's different this time? Please stop with the humming. What's different this time is how much we have turned each box into. Because now each individual block, each hole, has how many divisions in it? How many total blocks are in that block?
4.
8. Because there's 4 on top, 4 on bottom. So now I've divided each block into 8, haven't I?
Yes.
So how many times will 8 go into 15? Once, with how much left over? 1 and 7/8. Again, if you'll break it down, this actually makes sense. Because if I took this half of this bag and put it down here, I then have one whole bag, correct?
Yes.
Then on this one, I have 4 here, but I only have 3 left to add to it, don't I?
Yeah.
So on this one, I would end up with how much? 7/8. So if I combine those bags, I end up with 1 whole and 7/8 on this one. Make sense?
Wait, I thought that if you brought like the 4, the other 4 to the bottom.
But it's not 4, because this one that the dog ate was empty air. Because there was only 3/4 of that bag, remember? So that 1/4 on the end was actually already eaten. Okay? Now let's look at this mathematically. We now have a fraction, the 1/2, but we also have a mixed number. Now, I'm going to do a quick sidestep here. How many of you guys have ever seen the game of basketball played?
Yes.
Pretty much everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, one of my favorite parts in basketball is watching these amazing athletes who can actually do a slam dunk. Something I will never in my life do unless I go off a trampoline. Okay? But even though I can't do one, I can understand the process. As the basketball player is approaching the basket with his dribble, he picks the ball up as he gets close enough, and he has to go really fast at first, right? Because that lower part, to hold that ball, gravity would drop it straight down if I didn't get up here where I could actually get my hand to hold it. Does that make sense? So what is our fast operation in math? Multiplying. Then as he gets it to the top, these guys hang in the air, it seems like forever, till he gets right up to the basket, and then he slams it home, doesn't he? So that last part is really slow, that upper part. What's our slow operation? Adding. So to turn a mixed number into an improper fraction, you can remember basketball. All we're doing is slam dunking. I'm taking the first part really slow, or really fast, the 4 to 3, so I'm going to multiply 4 times 3, and then I'm going to add my denominator, or my numerator. So we'll rewrite this as 1/2 times 4 times 3 gives me 4 times 3, 12, plus 3, 15. So I changed that mixed number into 15/4.
Oh, 15/4. I put 8.
Okay? Now I multiply, so now I've got two fractions. 1 times 15 is 15. 2 times 4 is 8. 15 over 8. 8 goes into 15 once with
7, 8.
just like we said from our model.
Because it literally just gave me the answer.
Do you guys understand where these numbers are coming from now?
Yeah.
So it's not just some kind of magic. It actually all makes sense. The math just makes it considerably easier because you can go a lot faster. So let's develop our rule on here. When I have mixed numbers, what was the first thing we had to do?
No, multiply. Make mixed number become like no fraction.
Improper fraction or slam dunk. So we had to make an improper fraction. Or you can just put slam dunk, if you understand my analogy. So we can slam dunk it. Then we multiply top times top, bottom times bottom. And then, of course, our favorite step,
Simplify.
simplify it.
Wait, it's not ours. It's your favorite.
It's not yours yet?
I know how to simplify.
Good.
So basically,
Okay.
That makes sense, bro.
So we've now gone through 3 different forms on the fractions and multiplying. If it's just 2 fractions, easiest thing in the world. Top times top, bottom times bottom. If I have a whole number, I first have to make it an improper fraction by putting it over 1. Then I just multiply top times top, bottom times bottom. If I have a mixed number, I must turn it to an improper fraction. Slam dunk, then multiply top times top, bottom times bottom. In all cases, our last step is to simplify. Any questions on what we've developed so far?
Nope, I looked on the.
Okay, let's turn the page. Let's do a few together. Okay, our first one, really simple. 1/2 times 1/2. 1 times 1 is? 2 times 2 is? That's about as simple as it's going to get. Okay, so Mr. McShann had to leave us, but I do want to just acknowledge Ms. McShann is not a fan of this next part because some of you will get confused. If you are one who gets confused by this, do the math, but the problem is if you get confused by this concept, your math skills probably aren't that great anyway, meaning you're more likely to make a mistake. Guys, Sean, you're going to understand this. You'll be fine. Guys, quiet down. Here is the concept, and this comes back to our 4 key numbers. Micah, please stop and pay attention. If you have the same factor on top and bottom, you are allowed to simplify it before you multiply it. So this is where our 4 key numbers come in again, 2, 3, 5, 7. And all you're going to do is you're going to look at both numbers that are being multiplied, and I say, do I have the same factor on top and bottom? In other words, is there a number on top and bottom that I can divide by 2? Is there one that I can divide by 3? Is there one I can divide by 5? Yeah. I've got a 5 on top and a 5 on bottom, and it is really critical you have 1 on each. I can't do 2 on top, can't do 2 on bottom. But as long as I have 1 on each, I can say, okay, 5 divided by 5 is 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So I can now make those 5s into 1s. So now, all I got is a 3 and a 7. Those aren't going to go into each other. So I just multiply. 1 times 3 is 7 times 1 is. So 2 major advantages to this. Advantage number 1, the numbers you're going to multiply are easier. Less chance of you making a math error. Advantage number 2, if you have simplified properly, your answer is coming out in simplest form, unless it's an improper fraction, which you still need to change. Now, do I have to do this? No, you don't. If I don't simplify, all I'm doing is multiplying. 5 times 3 is 15. 7 times 5 is 35. 15 and 35, I can divide both those by 5, which gives me, you'll get the same answer if you don't make a math error. The problem is, as the numbers get bigger, guys, simplifying is going to save you a heck of a lot of time and effort. Okay? I recommend getting used to simplifying while we have the numbers easy, so that when the numbers get hard, you're comfortable with it. Because I'm telling you up front, simplifying is a lifesaver. Okay? Our next one, we have an improper mixed number, so we first have to slam dunk. Turn this into an improper fraction. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, times 1/2. Do I have a common factor on top and bottom? Can I divide 1 by 2?
No.
2 and 8? I can? I can't divide 8 by 2? JJ, make up my mind. Can I or can't I? Because you've said yes, no, yes. Like you've changed like 5 times. No, 8 divided by 2. Yeah. So I can divide 2 by 2. That becomes 1. I can divide 8 by 2. That becomes 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 goes into 4 once with 1 left over. Now, guys, again, if I didn't simplify, 8 times 1 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. I can divide both those by 2. Gets me 4/3. I can get to the same answer. It's just extra steps, extra chances for you to make a math error. Do I have to simplify? No, you do not. I highly recommend it, especially if you have good number sense, like Sean, because it's going to make your math a lot easier. Okay, our next one. Yes, Ray? That's what I did. It's right here. We did that. I showed you both ways. Boys, please stop with the drumming. Okay, our next one. We've got two mixed numbers. So we have to do a double slam dunk. 25 and 4 is 29 over 5. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10 over 3. Can I divide the top and the bottom by 2?
No.
By 3?
Oh, no, wait.
By 5?
Wait, you actually can't.
What?
You can divide 10 divided by 2 to get 5.
But I have to have one on bottom I can divide by 2 as well. Can't do that. But now you got to the next one. Do I have one on top and bottom I can divide by 5? That I can do. Excuse me. So the 5 becomes a 1. The 10 becomes a 2. 2 times 29 is going to give me 58 over 3. So now I just divide 58 divided by 3. It's going to go once. 28 is going to go 9 times. 27 leaves us 1 left over. So that equals 19 1/3. Okay, so this is the one where I start to get having some fun with you guys that don't want to do simplifying. Because if you don't want to simplify, what do I end up with? I have 290 over 15. Enjoy getting that one knocked down. Can you do it? You can. It's going to take you a heck of a lot longer. And again, you have much higher chance of making a math error. Okay, our next one. We're down to one mixed number again. So one slam dunk gives us 21 over 2 times 3 over 4. Are there any reductions I can do? Common factor. Top and bottom I can divide by 2, by 3, By 5? By 7? Bad news. No simplifying. We got to just do the math on this one. 21 times 3 gives us 63. 2 times 4 gives us 8. So I divide 63 by 8. It's going to go 7 times with 7 left over. Unfortunately, no getting around on that one. You got to just do all that one. Our last one, we're back to a double slam dunk. We got 2 mixed numbers. That gives us 11 over 6. 32 plus 3 is 35 over 8. Again, let's look for common factors. Top and bottom I can divide by 2. No, those are both odd. By 3. Nope, none of those go by 3. 5. No, bottom won't. And 7. Nope. So, again, unfortunately, no shortcuts on this one. We got to do all the math. 35 times 11. It's going to give us 35, 385. 6 times 4 is going to be 48. So now I just have to divide that out. 385 divided by 48. It's not going to go, it's less than 10. 9 is probably going to be too close. Let's try 8. So let's try times 8. That's going to give us 64, 32, 384. That's just less. So yes, it is 8. Subtract 384. Leaves 1 left over. So that equals 8 and 1 over 48. I know there's a lot of math on right on that one. Okay, do you guys understand the basic rules though? Okay? Yes, Madison.
Do you have any, like, either a pencil or what that is using this? Should I borrow it? I don't see it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, here's your turn. We'll give you 5 minutes. Actually, we'll just make it 7. We'll go to lunch on this one. You guys can do these last 3 by yourselves. And once the bell rings, it goes to lunch. We will continue with those answers once you get back. Okay, you guys should have had these all done by now. So let's look at our first one. Real simple reduction. We've got a 1, 2. Gives us 3/10. Second one, we do have to do a slam dunk first. So 2/3 times 11 halves. 1 reduction. 11/3 means it goes 3 with 2 left over. 3 2/3. And our last one. This is where it gets fun. So 10 plus 2 is 12. And 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. I do have 1 reduction. I can do those by 3. That gives us 28 over 5, or 5 3/5.
5 3/5. Yeah, see, I told you. Wait, what is that?
Which is a lot easier than 84 divided by 15. Questions on any of those?
No. By the way.
Yes, Taven?
What's that?
I reduced. So 3 divided by 3, it made that a 1. 12 divided by 3 made that a 4.
Oh, so it's a division.
Uh-huh. Because technically it's a simplification. I'm taking the same factor out of both of those.
Is there more?
Yes, sir. That's what we're about to go over.
Wait, what about
Okay, everybody good on those 3? Yes, Madison. That's our slam dunk. So I'm multiplying the 2 times 5 and then adding the 1. Guys, please quiet down so we can hear the questions. Remember, Madison, on the mixed numbers, we have to turn them to improper fractions first. We do that through our slam dunk. Multiply the denominator times the whole number and then add the numerator. Okay, this is your homework. We're going to come back to that at the end of class. Right now, I want you guys to go to this one. Yes. You do?
She's cursed. She is the curse.
Don't worry, I'll take care of you. Guys, quiet down. So this page is actually relatively simple because most of the numbers are relatively easy. All you have to do is look for reductions. I recommend you don't have to, but you do have to simplify every one of these. So if you'll do the reductions up front, it saves you on the simplifying. So for example, here I've got a 2 and a 2. I can make both those ones. So 1 times 1 is 1, 7 times 1 is 7. Now this one's a little different than a lot of them we've done before. What you're going to do is you go to the bottom of the page, you find the one that has 1/7, which is the V, and you're actually going to cross it out. You're not using it. So do not write V here, okay?
This is easy.
It is easy. Once you have crossed out, once you've solved all 29 of them, and you've crossed out at least 29 numbers, some of them have repeats, so if you see it more than once, you can cross both out. Excuse me. But the letters that are left, all you're going to do is you're going to start here. You can go left to right, and you're filling in the blanks as you get to each letter. And it will tell you, in the end, which table is the oldest table. Okay? So you guys have roughly 20 minutes to knock this whole... Okay, guys, I'm going to show you at home what the kids are working on. Most of them, I've already given them about 10 minutes. So I'm going to just fly through these because I'm actually not talking to them as I'm doing it. The big thing on this, if you guys will do these reductions, it's going to make your life so much easier. Again, the whole concept is find the common factor on top and bottom, and then reduce it out before I do the multiplication. So then I have 3s I can get rid of. 1 times 1, 1 times 4. Here I've got 2s I can get rid of. Gives me 1 and 3. This one, there's actually nothing I can do, so I just multiply it. 2 and 15. Here we go, 1 and 1. Gives us a 3 and an 8. There, can't really do anything, so it's 4 and 9. This one, nothing to do. It's 1 and 16. Here, again, nothing, just 1 and 6. Here, we've got a 5 and a 5. Sometimes we'll mess you up and do it on the same side. Don't let it throw you off. It's still the same concept. Nothing I can do here. Nothing I can do here. 9 and 16. Here we've got the 2s, so it gives us the 3 and the 5. Here we've got nothing, 1 and 8. There we've got nothing, 1 and 20. Here, no, we actually don't have anything, 8 and 35. This one, nope, just 25 and 42. Here, we've got a 3 I can divide out, gives us 5 and 14. This one, we've got a 2 we can divide out. We also have a 3 we can divide out on this one. Makes it 2/3. This one, we've got a 4 I can divide out. Gives us 7/10. This one, we've got a 2 I can divide out. Oh, and then a funny one, we've got a 3 we can do as well. Gives us a 2 and a 5 for 2/5. Here, we've got a 2 on the same side, so we could have actually reduced this one before we even did anything. Gives us 5 and 21. Here we don't have anything. 4 and 35. 25. Nothing we can do on this one. Gives us 3 and 28. Down here we've got a 2. Gives us 9/20. This one, we've got a 3 I can divide out. Gives us 5/8. Down here, nothing we can divide out. Gives us 9/64. And finally, 2/9. So once we do all those, all we have to do is go through, cross them off. So I already did the 1/7, so we have 1/2, 1/9. 1/2, there's 1/9. 1/2 is, there it is, the S. Next line, we've got a 4th, a 3rd, and 2/15. There's the 2/15. 1/3 and 1/4. Our next line, we've got 3/8, 4/9, 1/16, 3/8, 4/9, 4/9. There it is, and what was the third one? 1/16. Next line. We got 3/8, 4/9, and 1/16. 3/8. Did I just do that one? I just did. So we're at the 1/6, 8/9. 1/6, 8/9, and 1/15. There it is. We've got 9/16. We've got 3/5. And we've got 1/8. And we've got 1/20th. We've got 8/35. There it is. And 25/42. That should be a big one. There we go. Last couple lines, we're at 5/14. There we go. We've got 2/3. We've got 7/10. Should be getting easier now that we're down to just a few. There we go. We've got 2/5, 5/21, and 4/35. Then we've got 3/28, 9/20, and 5/8. Then our last line, 9/64. There we go. And 2/9. Okay, guys, listen up. For those of you that noticed, I just did that entire sheet in about 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
I'm quitting. You're Einstein Jr.
Okay? Now, guys, the big key on this, please listen up. Listen. That means stop talking. If you'll look on my paper, the big key is those reductions. If you'll do those reductions, it makes the math super easy. Oops, sorry, I still have my mask on. Okay, so and here was a fun one because I was actually able to do 2 reductions. So let me just talk you through number 22 real quick. Ah, shoot. I hope that's okay. Yeah, I didn't lock the page, so I just moved the whole thing, which might move my marks. But on this one, what I saw the 2 and 12 right away. So I said I can divide both those by 2, made it a 1 and a 6. But then I said, oh, wait, I still have a 3 I can do, and the 6 and 15. So then I made the 6 a 2 and the 15 a 5. So it was just 2 times 1, 5 times 1. Those of you that didn't do that, you had 12/30ths. So then you had to reduce that down. If you saw the 6, you could do it right away, or at least 2 steps. But it saved me all that work because I was able to do it all here. Now here's what you were supposed to have done. Once I crossed out all of the answers, now I just go and I find the letters that are left and I put them in order. MULTIPLICATION TAB. What is the oldest table in the world?
Multiplication table.
Okay. You can still figure it out yourself. Just pretend you didn't. Jasmine, just pretend it's like normal class. You didn't listen to me. You're well practiced in that one. So, okay, guys, turn to your homework real quick. This is the lineup. This one is actually really simple, but I do need to make sure you understand how to do it. Yeah, you do. It's page 4 in your packet. All you're doing, guys, is multiplying on this left-hand column. So this one, you're just multiplying. Again, look for reductions. It will make your life easier. In this case, I don't have any, so I just do 1 times 5 is 5. 3 times 6 is 18. Once I have my answer in simplest form, quick note, you'll notice we have improper fractions here. So if it's an improper fraction, you're not going to have to reduce it. All I'm going to do is find this answer on this side. In that case, it's this one right here. Now, you do need to have a straight edge. This is actually really important, because if your line is not straight, as you continue on this, it's going to get really confusing what your line is going through. It doesn't have to be a ruler. It can be the edge of a book, a notebook, I don't care. Just make sure you have a straight edge. Because what you're going to do is you're going to lay one edge of your straight edge here. You're going to lay the other edge of it right here. And you're going to draw a straight line in between the two of those. Every line should go through exactly one number and exactly one letter. What you're then going to do is come to the bottom of the page, and in this case, in box number 7, I'm going to put the letter T. So I go to 7, and I put T. So does that make sense? Okay? So your work, guys, is just showing us on this side what you are multiplying. If you choose not to do reductions, you do need to show us your reductions. If you're one of those neat freaks and need to do this on a separate piece of paper, that's fine. Just make sure you bring that paper with you. Do realize the back of your packet is a blank page. So if you want to, you can actually work it out there, because this is page 4. So you can actually have page 4 open and then just flip straight to the back of the paper to do your work if you want to. Okay? Once you get done, you're going to have a really excellent fractions joke on the bottom. Now, one thing about this, your joke doesn't have spaces. So I'm going to give you a hint. It's about fractions, not dinosaurs. Once you see the answer, you'll understand. Any questions on your homework or anything we've covered today? Okay. You guys actually have about 2 minutes left. If you